This video is sponsored by Fishing Clash. As usual, a compromise. How much do I chill and how much do I hike? But ultimately, if these 50 miles got to come out of the bank somehow. Well, that didn't work. Hey everybody, Syntax77 here, and let me tell you what the current situation is. It is early October. I am in upstate New York in the Adirondacks. I got 3 days, a hammock, a tarp, and 50 miles of backpacking in front of me. And if you'd like to join me, I think we're going to get right down to it. So, take the keys out of the old vehicle here, grab my map, step out into the sunshine. It's 60 degrees according to the dash on the Jeep there. So pretty nice temperatures. A little tinge of color in the leaves there, as you can see. And I'm pretty excited. I'm doing the Cranberry Lake 50, as you can see on my map there. I got my little printout, and it is a 50-mile loop. Right now I'm right about here in Wenakina, hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Wenakina, New York. And up ahead in about 10 miles is Cranberry Lake. And then it's 40 more miles all the way around of good camping, circumnavigating, you guessed it, Cranberry Lake here in the Adirondacks. So, we'll get into the details in a moment, but let me put that in my pocket for safekeeping. And I'll grab my backpack and we'll get things going here. Here's my pack. Temperature range is mid 70s at the highest and probably mid 50s at night. So I didn't have to bring a whole bunch of cold weather gear. I also don't have rain in the forecast, so I didn't bring rain gear. Actually, tomorrow there's a slight chance of rain, but it's a little bit of a gamble. But that allowed me to get my base weight down to, I'd say, 8-pound neighborhood. I'll put a specific gear list link in the video description if you want to check that out. But yeah, around 8 pounds, and then probably my usual 7-ish pounds of food and water. Maybe 8 pounds, a little heavier because of something that I'll get into later. But yeah, that's it right there. I got 2 liters of water. Water shouldn't be a major problem on this trip. There's a lot of stream crossings as well as hugging the lake, so I can grab water from that. But for right now, I just have 2 liters to start, and I think that's going to be good. Clip my keys on here. Got my yellow bottle here. That's my stove fuel heat. If you've ever seen that at the gas station, it's just denatured alcohol. Basically moonshine with poison in it. But that'll run my stove, so I have a really light stove system made out of a cat food can. It only weighs a 1/4 ounce. So even though this trip has very limited elevation gain, it's still a ton of mileage, at least for me. So I'm going to be doing around 18-ish miles per day, maybe 12 miles on the last day, or 14, I don't know. My math isn't great right now. But enough yapping. Let's close the doors up, lock the Jeep, and get on the trail. All right, well, here we go. Fall leaves are coming down. Air feels good. I feel good. Of course, I haven't started hiking yet, so that's easy to say right now. There's a Cranberry 50 marker right there. Blue. We'll be following that for the next 3 days and 50 miles or so. Now, the Cranberry Lake 50 is actually comprised of 11, I believe 11, different trails that are connected together to make this loop. And right now, I'm parked at the trailhead in Winnetkina, and I'll put full GPS data and parking location and all that in my video notes. But from here, we immediately hit this pedestrian bridge. There's an auto bridge up there that I drove across. It's about 10 a.m. It's not the earliest start ever. I tried to get something hotel-wise because I'm about 8 hours from here south in Delaware. I tried to get something real close to sleep at last night, but not a whole lot around here that was available for me. So had about an hour and a half drive in still this morning. Oh, that is wet. Either morning dew or it rained last night. We'll see how things go. A lot of bogs around here and beaver dams. I'm going clockwise. And a major reason for that is because the beaver dams seem to be most heavy in the last 10 miles from over there. So I'm going to end with that on the last day. And if I get all kinds of mud and muck on my shoes, at least I know that I'll be ending the trip. But right now, I know it doesn't feel like we're on the trail, but we are on the trail. The trail's going to snake for maybe a mile and a half or so through town. And then we'll enter the woods. And there's a blue marker on that telephone pole. And there's a big marker right there. Five Ponds Partners. I believe they give you a patch if you email them or contact them afterwards. Let them know that you completed the loop, and they send you a patch. Little church there. Kind of a cool start to a hike. Not how I usually start things. A little something different. Didn't take too long. And now we are along the lake and into the woods. The trail's pretty wide right now. It's like an old logging road. But we're off the pavement and into the adventure. There are a lot of lean-tos around here, a lot of campsites, as I alluded to earlier. So, finding a place to camp that also has water, not going to be an issue on this trip. It's also only like 5,000 feet of elevation gain max. I've read 4,000 to 5,000 based on sources of total elevation gain, gross. So, you know, you do your little ups and downs and it adds up. That might sound like a lot, but to put it in perspective, 5,000 over the course of 50 miles, we're averaging like 100 feet of up and down cumulative elevation per mile. And what would be considered a tough trail, like say in New Hampshire or something like that, would be 1,000 feet per mile, maybe even 1,500 feet per mile, which I did on Devil's Path in the Catskills. So yeah, elevation is not our enemy on this trip. Complacency quite possibly is. Sunset is 6:25. Let's call it 6:30. Sunrise is 7:15. So I've got like 11 hours of daylight window per day, and then of course today I started late. But right now I'm heating up, so I'm taking off the shirt. I'm shedding that layer for sure, and we'll see where the day takes us. But before we really jump into the deep end here, I'd like to thank my sponsor for this video, Fishing Clash. Now, you can't always be outdoors. Sometimes you're stuck in an airport, other times you're just at home on the couch. But with Fishing Clash, you can virtually get outdoors and do some fishing. It's a free game available for download on iOS or Android. There's a link right in my video description. And I've been having a lot of fun playing it. They give you a whole bunch of different locations and gear, and you can go out and fish virtually. You can see here right now I'm doing some lake fishing, casting some lines with the standard lure for this area, which you can use when you first get to an area to unlock specific lures for specific fish. Not bad, that was a good one. You can kit out your rod, get new rods and switch lures and different licenses. And then you also can unlock new locations. Maybe I'm in the mood to head down to the Florida coast and catch a shark. Do this dusky smoothhound. It's kind of hard to explain, but you can kind of feel the tension change on the line as he fights you. And you just got to keep it in the zone there. Come on. Oh, what do we got? Good size. And by discovering new fish and catching larger fish, you can gain experience, but you can also duel people. And now we got a minute and a half to go head to head. They do have new championships and events every week. And it kind of keeps things new and fresh. There's a whole lot to do and unlock in this game. I'm finding it to be a lot of fun. And for new players only, for new players out there, you can use my special promo code right in the game in the upper right menu button there. You're gonna go to gift codes, and right there under collect gift, just put in fish with syntax 77 and get a whole bonus pack. You get a 3-star rod for more bonuses, a mythical dolphin fish lure, 50 luck power-ups to help get the fish you want, 30 weight power-ups to help you catch even bigger fish, worth 28 bucks. Even if you don't like fishing in real life, I think you'll find it to be fun. And like I said, it is free, so go ahead and use that link in my video description and you can download it yourself and get out there and get fishing. Me, I think I need to get back out on the lake and get hiking. Let's go. We're about 6 or 7 miles in, which means we're probably coming up on the next and last town crossing of this trip. And that will be the actual town of Cranberry Lake. So, we're going to forge ahead. So far it's been very nice. Good solitude. Lots of crunchy leaves on the ground, for sure. You know, when I first read about this loop and the fact that it had 2 towns on it, I figured that's awesome. I can start from one and resupply at another, but because of the fact that they're only 10 miles apart on a 50-mile loop. Oh, there's a chipmunk. Hey, buddy. Because of the fact that they're only 10 miles apart on a 50-mile loop, doesn't really pose a lot of value in terms of resupply. So I'm just going to blaze right through it. It would be pretty awesome if they were like perfectly spaced 25 miles apart. Then I could pack half the food and maybe get a meal. But on the flip side, most of the time when I go backpacking, I just want to get away from it all. So we took a little break for a snack and rehydration, but not gonna lie, upon standing here and you know, doing my snack break, I said, let me look at my phone. And well, that revealed to me that apparently there was a fork in the road somewhere back here, and I probably just staring at my feet, kept my head down, kept going, followed the trail, and look at that. I made a U-turn. I am on the wrong trail. That's gonna cost me a little bit of time, but that happens. So we're gonna turn around and head north. Get back on track. All right, give me your opinion. Pink line is where I went. This is where I diverted from the blue line, which is my actual loop. And that red right there is me. So it doesn't look terribly dense in front of me. What do you think? Did we just beeline it straight across to there? Because I was 0.6 miles away from my departure from the trail, but that was as the crow flies, and that is not how trails run. So in terms of mileage, out and back, probably blew a couple miles. I think in the spirit of fun and adventure and also laziness, we're gonna go straight ahead. We're gonna just plow straight ahead through these woods until we hit a trail. Now, of course, I'm more confident about this because, well, I have a GPS to tell me if I undershoot or overshoot the trail. Going to keep track of how often I go left, like I just did, versus right. Don't do one or the other too much, otherwise I'll go in a circle, and I've already done that. It is 4 o'clock and 2 hours and 20 minutes or so of sunlight. And we're back on it. I am behind schedule. It is 5 something. There's a tag right there. 50 that way. My mileage is around 10 or 11 miles, but that's because of my wrong turn. And also, I've just been, I guess, not adjusting properly to the amount of miles per hour I should be doing. My last trip was super slow, and so I came out here to do the opposite. But you can't just soak in every sight there is when you're trying to do 18, 20 miles a day. Well, we ended up night hiking, but still got about 16 miles in, so I'll take it. It is dark in these woods. I just want to get some water, so that's 1 liter. We'll fill one more up. At least we got something to cook with. Finally at camp. I do believe that is a proper boil. Add that to the pouch. Thank you, Barbara, for sending this. My favorite. Texas State Fair chili. Packet Gourmet. Give it a quick stir. Oh, whoops. Didn't take that out, but I will now. Seal that up. Give it a good 10-15 minutes. In the meantime, I'll set up my hammock. And man, I am ready for dinner. That is for sure. Not a bad day. We'll see what tomorrow brings. Good morning, everyone, including the chipmunks. Probably 15.5 miles in, and did a decent amount of that at night last night. Although it was nice, it was peaceful, and I enjoyed it. But speaking of a lack of urgency, I slept in. It's like 8 a.m. and I've been enjoying myself in a hammock, although it did hit me just a few moments ago that if it's 8 a.m. or a little after, I'm kind of putting myself in the same boat as yesterday. If I don't get my butt up and moving. Looks nice out. It never rained, which is nice. Surrounded by the fall leaves. Just gotta put my shoes on. Breakdown camp. Get to it. Hammock worked well. So did my insulation. Got my 40-degree top quilt there. Hammock gear. And 30-degree 3/4 length underquilt. Both of which performed quite adequately. I think it only went down. It feels like the 50s right now. If anything needs to be replaced, it's my poor shoes. These La Sportiva Wildcats, I love them, but boy, I've been beating the heck out of them. And they are overdue for a change. Or I should say, an upgrade, replacement. Probably going to get the same exact ones, but you can see I've torn them up. I even sewed them. Put a little super glue on there. But I think I'm running out of options. Probably need to just suck it up and buy a new pair. But I'm going to at least get one more trip out of them. Here's my setup. Got my hammock gear, Dyneema fiber tarp there. That guy's about 5.5 ounces. And with the lines and everything, all the accoutrements, maybe 8 ounces total with my Zingit lines and hardware, little shock cord, and my chem light last night, just to make it easy to find camp if I wandered away. I sent a message to my wife on Spot Messenger, two-way messenger, just to let her know everything is going well. And yeah, I think I will pack up, jam everything in the backpack, hit the trail, get the blood flowing, and maybe we'll have breakfast on the trail. Airbag line, pretty simple, just 25 feet of Zingit or maybe it's lash it. I always get the two confused. The only difference is one is yellow and one is gray. I got both. Just some random pieces all wrapped together. And zing it or lash it is, I guess originally for the marine world, but it's strong enough for a bear bag line for sure. It's also what is my ridge line over there on the hammock, so it's pretty resilient stuff. But it's also got a little bit of a coating to it, and it keeps it from getting tangled up quite so easily. And I just keep that in my food bag. And this is where my food, of course, and anything that smells good to animals goes. Keep that out of the striking distance of their paws. My toothbrush and toothpaste and all that is in here too. My trees are really close together, about as close as I can go. So my tarp is hanging pretty low, but I actually kind of like that, because even though that looks droopy right now, as you saw earlier, I can pitch it out and I get a real low profile hang. That's that. Top quilt. Underquilt. I originally bought a full length one, but I found that 3/4 length for anything other than full winter I get by with. It doesn't cover my from about here on my leg down, right about there. Some guys put a pad under their feet, but for me, in this weather in the 50s, doesn't bother me at all. So no problem. My headlamp, this Nightcore USB rechargeable. I'll keep him thinking ahead for the next potential night hike. Keep it right on my hip pocket, so when I need it, it's ready to go. Spare socks. It's my only backup clothing for this trip. Smart or not, I don't know. Other than that, I'm wearing everything that I have right now in terms of clothing. Didn't bring a puffy jacket. Just got my campfire shirt and a long sleeve tee with a hood underneath. And that allows me to get some scalability in terms of warmth. I can layer it on and off as needed. And right now I'm already getting a little too warm. And I'll take down the hammock from my whoopee hooks on my whoopee sling right there, hooked up to the Kevlar straps. Light and super strong. Yes, Kevlar as in the bulletproof stuff. About 2,000 pounds, or at least 1,500, I think, of strength on that. And it weighs next to nothing. Maybe, I don't know, an ounce for the whole strap, plus the whoopee hook, maybe an ounce and a half. And that's AM steel, another marine type material or rope that is, you guessed it, as strong as steel, but very light. And this is my half-wet hammock. I've shown it 1,000 times before. It's so called because it doesn't have the full bug net. It's only 10 ounces for the whole hammock. That's my whole sleeping system. Now, if it was wet right now, if it had rained last night, I would wrap these straps up because they'd be wet, and I would keep them in the outer mesh pocket of my backpack so that they didn't get my hammock wet or my other gear in my pack. But because it was fair weather last night, for the sake of organization, I'm going to put one strap at each end of my double-ended stuff sack, and that'll make it super easy and organized tonight. And that's pretty much it. There's my pack. I think we're good, so we're gonna leave no trace and move on out. All right, first intersection of the day on the 50. Hedgehog Pond is 2.2 miles from here. Dog Pond is 7 miles from here. So there's my handy dandy map. There's Winnetkina. That's where we left the Jeep behind. Yesterday we did all this yellow line up to Cranberry Lake. A little bit of hiking through the town. And then stopped right around here-ish is where we camped. And so I've gone about a half mile, so we're right around here. And then tonight, I'm thinking we'll probably camp somewhere around Cat Mountain Pond, or ideally Glassby Pond. And there's also Cowhorn Pond, which is a shelter. I've got a hammock set up, so no sleeping pad. The shelter wouldn't do me much use other than hanging my hammock in the shelter, which can or cannot be considered rude. I have done it before in the past when I've arrived after dark and I know no one's around, but we'll see. That's a pretty good cluster of 3 potential campsites, but it does mean, and there's really not a whole lot of ways out of this, I got to push like 22 miles today, so 4 miles more than yesterday. But like I alluded to this morning, I just have to switch gears from too much relaxing and soaking in the sights and pare that back a little bit in exchange for some mileage. I do like this fall weather though. It feels good. Probably 60-ish degrees right now. It feels like maybe 62, I'm just guessing. It's about where it was when I got here yesterday. It's nice. Still got the long sleeve on, and that hasn't overheated me yet. But I imagine soon enough I'll probably have to shed that layer. I think I'll also probably have to stop at some point and do some food. A brunch, I think we'll call it. 'Cause I haven't eaten yet. Cranberry Lake. And that is about as close as we have come to it. It's only a matter of feet away. You can hear it lapping up on the shore. A couple anglers out there, seeing what they can catch. I believe there's large and smallmouth bass in here. And it's pretty sure there's trout too, and a few other species. Well, what do you know? You know what that sound is? And it's getting louder. My 30% chance of rain has hit. I'm at the intersection here with Hedgehog Pond, 0.2 of a mile that way. But I'm gonna stick on the Cranberry 50 and keep on moving. I'm a few miles in now. I don't hear rain anymore, which is good. We'll see if it comes back. If I was going to get it, I believe it would be around midday today. There she is. The ridge along it there. So the trail's right there. Came from in there. So you can kind of see how we're going to go inland a bit. And I imagine over the ridge. So there's probably our 400-foot climb, I'm assuming. A little dip in the middle, and then back down to lake level on the other side. I don't know about you, but I feel like we should probably fuel up before we do that. Might finally eat some food. Because this view is pretty amazing. Although, as I say that, it's starting to rain again. So maybe that'll entice me to keep moving. But as of right now, I'm relaxing, enjoying the view, and going to have some lunch. So, I mentioned at the beginning of the video that my food weight was a little heavier than normal. And that is because I brought some canned goods. And if you watched a few videos ago with my wife, the video where everything went wrong as it begins to rain, which is kind of poetically justified. Yeah, we had a bunch of things went wrong. But we had a can of beans, and we usually grab the bigger can that has the pop top. And we grabbed the can that had no pop top. It needed a can opener. I did not have one. We got it open with a folding saw, which I thought was fun. But a lot of you did point out to just get a P38 can opener. But one of you in particular, viewer Richard from New York, Putnam County, I believe, he was in the military himself, and he actually mailed me a few P38 can openers. So I have one right here, and I keep it on my keychain now, as he suggested, and we're going to see how it works. It's very light and simple. The P38 was originally designed for K rations to be included with them, and those were like, if you're familiar with MREs, which is the modern kind of food ration for the military. It comes in those brown plastic bags. I've used it on previous videos. That was kind of the World War II era ration, was the K ration. And then later they actually included it with the C ration as well, which until I started researching the P38, I thought the K and C rations were kind of a linear progression. But it looks like both of them actually were in service around the same time, late 1930s and definitely during World War II. The main difference I see between the two is mobility. So the K ration seems to have been given more so to, say, airborne troops, motorcycle patrols, stuff like that. And the C ration was a little more hardy, and probably had more calories and whatnot, but it was bigger and heavier, a little less fast and light, if you will. Fun fact too, since we're speaking all about rations, there's A rations and B rations as well. An A ration would be fresh food, and a B ration would be pre-packaged, semi-perishable food that doesn't require refrigeration. But A and B rations both require a field kitchen as well as trained staff, whereas the C ration and the K ration were canned goods that could be opened with this P38 can opener. So let's see how it works. Now, I did bring with me, in homage to that previous trip, a can of those same Bush's baked beans, but I'm not going to have those right now. I'm going to do soup. I picked up some Campbell's right here, and it is double noodle. And I'm going to see if I can open it, and then we'll add some water and heat it up with my alcohol stove with the heat fuel. Alright, let's see here. Take this off. The main thing that scares me right now is the fact that I never unclip my keys from my backpack during a backpacking trip. So let's make sure to put these back when we're done. But I should be able to just there we go. Kind of hook it onto the side there. I got the rim of the can, and then it should, yep, punches right in a lot better than if you watched my video before. I gave it a shot with this bottle opener just for the heck of it, and it did not work at all. That's why I ended up using the folding saw. But look at that. So you just punch and move back, and punch and move back, and we'll just keep doing that. And the P38, if you look up why it's called that, good luck. There are a lot of different theories. There's also a P51, which is a little larger and easier to use, I hear, but also probably more expensive to produce and include with the K rations. I'm not sure what the P51s are included with, but some say it's because the naming convention is because this is 38 millimeters long and the P51 is roughly 51. Is that a coincidence? I don't know, but I know that that's the metric system, and pretty sure that America doesn't usually get along with that. We tried and failed. So I don't know if that's true. There's also a P38 Mustang, and there was a there was a P51. There was another aircraft, P51. So some people have speculated that it's simply because they just were paying homage to various aircraft. I don't know. But in the amount of time it took me to blab about aircraft in World War II, we just perfectly opened up a can of soup. So I'm going to dump that in here. Remember, this is double noodle. Never had this before. Campbell's soup from New Jersey. Camden, I believe, right? Yep, Camden, New Jersey. Probably been around since World War II as well. So that's concentrated. So let's go get some water. And I'm going to be boiling it, so no big deal. But we'll dip in and grab that. I will point out, though, I've seen a lot of trip reports mentioned their water filters just so happened to fail while they were doing this trip. And I think that's because they're getting water out of these ponds. Well, this pond and the various smaller ponds. And it's just wreaking havoc on their filters. So me personally, I've been using the treatment tablets, the iodine, and that's been working for me. I actually had a viewer ask in my previous video if I had a bad experience with water filters and if that's why I was not using one anymore. And I responded quite honestly, no, I'm just lazy. On a through hike, I get it. A filter is probably the way to go because you buy it once for like 30 bucks and you're done. The tablets are like 12 bucks for 50 doses or so, but for a weekend warrior like myself, they're just dead simple. But anyway, pouring the heat, alcohol fuel. All right, that is lit. There she goes. Put that on. And my other half of the windbreak. Put the lid on. Now, I just wait for my soup to heat up and enjoy the view. That is good and hot, which is quite welcome, because as you can tell by my shirt, there's a cold wind coming off this lake and a threat of rain. Hopefully I'll have a chance to enjoy my soup before it opens up. Alright, well, I think that might be our cue to get back into the woods. Make sure I didn't leave anything behind here. And yeah, I hope this passes in a decent amount of time. And if that's the case, then maybe being in the trees will save me. I don't have rain gear. I believe this is it. Yep, I see a blue marker up there. I took off my long sleeve shirt. Not that cold in here, and no use getting that wet. So I put on my pack cover, and everything I'm wearing is synthetic, so while I don't want to get wet, if I do, it should dry as I hike the remainder of my 15 miles or so. I definitely wasted some time. No, I won't call it a waste. I enjoyed it, but I definitely spent some time hanging out on the lake there. But now it is 12:21, and I'm right back in the same boat I was yesterday. A lot of miles in front of me, 6 hours of daylight in 4 minutes. Curtis Pond, Irish Pond, Dog Pond, whole lot of ponds in the next 2.2 miles. There's a bunch of smaller ponds dotted along the larger Cranberry Lake. So right now I am around here. Speaking of tactical, that does not sound commercial, does it? Can't get a view of it though. Anyway, pardon my nerding out on aircraft. I'm going to make this elbow turn here, and at the very least, I would say this Chair Rock campsite, that yellow dot right there, that would leave me with, even that would leave me with 22 miles to go tomorrow. I mean, that's possible, but that's what I'm supposed to do today. Ideally, I would get to this Cat Mountain Pond or Glaspie Pond, which I think I mentioned earlier, and that would leave 15 miles to do tomorrow. As usual, a compromise of how much do I chill and how much do I hike, but ultimately, if these 50 miles got to come out of the bank somehow. Well, this here is Dog Pond, which means about 6 miles relatively straight due west should be Chair Rock campsite. I said I was just going to pound miles today, but I couldn't resist those ponds and whatnot, just hanging out and soaking up the sun and the views. That sun is going away. So I got 2 liters of water, plus a little bit on my front bottle here. So actually I got 2.5 liters of water. Plenty for cooking and hydration. Today I want some time at camp. Just gotta find out where that is. What in the world have we got here? That is a full-on gas oven. Strange. Unexpected for sure. I don't know. There's something over there as well. What the? There's okay. Gas grill. Barbed wire. Trailer. Corrugated steel. And the remnants of a shack of some sort. Perhaps some sort of sanctioned campsite? I don't know. I know this Tide bottle is not from the last 10 or 15 years, that's for sure. Deep clean formula. That's a little creepy, so I won't be staying there. I said I wasn't going to night hike, but it is officially sunset. There's no way around it. No way around it. No way around it. Well, that didn't work. I rolled up to Rock Chair campsite and it was taken. I could see a campfire and a headlamp or 2 over there, so decided not to bother them. And we're just going to push on into the woods, into the darkness. Haven't seen any remnants of possible campsites yet, but this is why I'm happy that I have water. I can throw a hammock up anywhere, I mean, if I really needed to, but it's a little dense, muddy and buggy around here, so I'm just going to keep on night hiking. We'll see if we stumble upon something. That is amazing. I'm here at camp, little spur trail off of Cranberry Lake 50 right now. I'm enjoying my baked beans. Next up, I got a shepherd's pie. Where's it at? Somewhere around here. Mashed potatoes right there. Put in about 16 miles. So, not too bad. Get a little rest, and then we'll get back on it in the morning. Another day begins. No rain, that's good. Right now it is 8 o'clock. No early start for me once again. And I'm gonna pack this thing up and get back on the trail. We got 18 to 20-ish miles to do today. And we'll see what kind of views we get of the lake and whatnot. So, let's do it. What do we got here? We are here. And if you can see that on the map there. Well, actually, maybe my paper map will make it a little clearer. Jeep was here. Winnetkina. Went all the way around here. Camped yesterday, right? Then came yesterday past Dog Pond and Chair Rock. Right there is where I thought I might be able to camp. It was taken. I kept moving. And we are basically down here. Woke up this morning. I could actually see the lake through the trees. I had no idea it was there last night when it was dark, but that was cool. We'll continue around, round, past Round Top Mountain, curve around, and Winnetkina's right there. So we're basically doing this chunk of the loop today. And I hear Cat Mountain has the best views of the whole loop. It's not officially on the loop, but I think it's like maybe a half-mile spur trail. Those leaves are just steady coming down. It's definitely the theme of this trip. Back. Oh, not a bad little campsite. Got some log stools, an actual marker from New York State in all their wisdom saying you can camp here specifically. And the sound of a jet in the sky again as well. A little fire pit. And oh, this is interesting. It sure looks like a boat. Or two. Anybody want to cut some mileage down? Just skip across to the lake here. Not quite sure what the story is there. No paddles, so I guess it wouldn't be the most expedient exfiltration for me. But this looks nice. Little rock island. Wouldn't mind taking that boat there. But I have to keep on hiking. It's early. Hasn't even hit 10 yet, which is good. I'm a few miles in. And I got a lot in front of me. All right, here we go. I've been waiting for this. We're getting into the wetter, muddier, boggier sections of trail, I believe, at this point. Which, as I mentioned before, is why I did it in this direction. Because these last 10 miles or so are supposed to be pretty muddy and wet. So my feet, whoa, there's a perfect example there. My feet will certainly get wet at some point, but that is fine because I won't be camping tonight and worrying about my shoes drying out, which honestly I'm wearing non-Gore-Tex on purpose. These Wildcats Las Sportivas, I don't think I've ever had a pair of shoes that dries out quite so quickly and efficiently. I thought about bringing my Gore-Tex Adidas, but honestly, I think they would have just gotten wet. I was worried about going over my ankle and filling them, or getting rained on and having water run off my pant leg into them. And once Gore-Tex gets wet, it is not drying out. The constant trade-off of choosing hiking shoes. There's pros and cons to both. You let me know what you think, but I honestly am not 100% convinced one way or the other. I think some situations warrant Gore-Tex, and other ones, it's not worth it. Just gotta play it by ear. I think temperature has a lot to do with it too. I did a summer trip one time, no rain at all, but it was hot, and I was pounding out mileage, and my feet felt like I was walking in water for 3 days, because that Gore-Tex just couldn't keep up with, even though it breathes, just couldn't keep up with the amount of heat being produced by my feet. Thankfully now, it's not hot at all. Feels quite nice. Now, if this doesn't just scream out as the quintessential Adirondack lean-to shelter, I don't know what else does. Very well equipped, I'll give him that. Got a shovel for ash or whatever tasks may be at hand. You got a old Maxwell House coffee pot, or coffee can I should say. An assortment of racks. A pot that I would not recommend using, but it's a nice thought. 2 bow saws that look very nice. An amazingly large fire pit. And wow, they even got some utensils. And Olmsted Pond trail sign-in book. Some cards too. A little something for sweeping up. A lighter. Some scissors. Foil. If you carry it in, carry it out. Except for those items, I guess. Which is kind of a a bit of a bone of contention for some people. But I see both sides to that. I'm not sure how you feel about it, but anyway. Now that I think about it, I have not seen a blue Cranberry 50 trail disc marker in quite some time. Plenty of the yellow trail markers for whatever sub trail I'm on have been popping up, but not the blue 50s. It seems a little less marked over here. It also seems the most scenic so far, bang for your buck mileage wise. So even though it is boggy and muddy. That's been nice. So if you're only going to do like a small section, I would say maybe counterclockwise from Winnetka, where I parked. But that being said, perhaps that's why there are no trail markers around here. I've heard people take them for souvenirs, but haven't seen anybody yet today on this beautiful Thursday. I have not got eyes on them yet. 2 days now. The game of cat and mouse. I am losing. I mean, I can hear him or her, but I can't see them. All right. Always got to have something to save for the next trip, I guess. And in my case, this time, it is Cat Mountain. 1.5 miles that way, which is where I came from. So apparently, I was in the zone. I blew right past it. Speaking of being in the zone, earlier I saw that mileage for Winnetka. From here, it's 3.6 miles, but that is not Cranberry Lake 50. It goes that way. So if we look at my map here, I'm right here by my thumb. And this trail on here, 3.6 miles, basically cuts straight across to where I am parked at. The real trail curves around towards High Rock and High Falls, does a little horseshoe, and ends up back at the vehicle. Not gonna lie, I stood there and thought about it, because it is afternoon and I am hungry. I've exhausted most of my food, at least in terms of what I actually want to eat. And I have been dreaming about a cheeseburger, but I'm going to stick with it and complete the full loop. How many more miles exactly? Not sure. My phone, along with all my other electronic devices, is completely dead. I am old school. No electronics around me today. So having all my electronics die, my phone included, which is nowadays my GPS, it's kind of been an interesting exercise, I suppose. Just the feeling of hiking without constant GPS updates at your fingertips. I'm just holding out for this burger. I'm pounding away, and we might be night hiking again. All the way back to the Jeep this time. It's a little eerie in here. And at the very least, probably a haven for bugs. But look how it's kind of dammed up. And just not the best looking water in the world. I see the blue marker down there, so I'm just gonna carefully walk along this dam, basically, courtesy of the beavers. Oh my goodness. I don't know if you can see it yet, but up ahead there is indeed my Jeep. So we did it. I made it. I'll have to admit that last handful of miles was pretty grueling psychologically, if you can see me, hopefully. Yeah, that was a bit of a slog, but I made it back. There's the Jeep right there. Everything looks good. So thanks for coming with me on this one. Thank you, Barbara, for the chili and the other goodies. Good luck on your trip to London and Paris. Thanks to Richard for sending my new favorite can opener. He sent a few, so as soon as I get home, I'm going to be putting one on my wife's keychain. We'll never be without beanies and weenies again. And thank you to everyone out there. I am starving. I'm tired. I'm going to go replace some calories. So until next time, I'm Syntax77, and right now, it's cheeseburger time. This video was sponsored by Fishing Clash. Use the link in my video description and you can start playing now for free on Android or iOS.